select from that menu.
Well, let's do alien intelligence, because that's a fun one, I think. A point that I'm on YouTube making in several places, and I'm happy to repeat here in front of you, because you're a deep thinker on these matters. As someone who spent time measuring the brain, it was in a previous life, I think that's what you did, and measuring a cognitive or a brain function. I always ask the question, here we are looking for intelligence out there. That's what the I stands for in SETI, search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And that must operate on some assumption that we know what intelligence is and that we are the measure of it. All right, let's even grant us that intelligence by definition is you can do abstract math, and we have philosophy and art and music and science and engineering. Okay, clearly no other species on Earth has ever come close to that. So here we are, we're intelligent. But now we look at our closest genetic relative. By the way, this argument doesn't require it to be the closest relative, it just makes it simpler. That would be the chimp. And the chimp can't do any of that I just listed, remotely. And the chimp can't even do a times table, right? That, that you do in elementary school. So, but what can a chimp do? It can extract termites from a termite mound with a stick, can stack boxes, to reach a banana, rudimentary things such as that. All right.
There's one thing chimps can do that is quite alarming. Have you seen the video of a chimp sitting in front of a computer, basically doing some kind of a digit span working memory task where they have kind of a checkerboard where various squares get briefly illuminated, and then you have to duplicate the sequence by touching those squares in sequence. Like a game of Simon, you know. And chimps are much better than people at this. I mean, they have a crazy working memory for, you know, kind of just touching the places in any kind of visual spatial space. It's alarming to see. I'll look up those videos and put them out there.
So here we have it. With the exception of playing the game of Simon.
Don't challenge a chimp to a game of Simon.
There you go. So, and let's look at our genetic difference. It's trifling. It's, you know, in the 1% range between the genetic code of the chimp and us. That's the smallest genetic difference than between we and any other species. And in fact, as I've read, the genetic difference between chimps and humans is less than the genetic difference between chimps and gorillas. So they are much closer to our relative than either of us are to gorillas. Fine.
To point out how surprising this is, I think it's actually less than the difference between mice and rats, too.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that. So here we have this. Now, so what that means is the entirety of our intellectual distinction between us and chimps can be found in that trifling difference in DNA. All right. So now let's find an alien species. And if we use this DNA scale, presumably they wouldn't have DNA, but let's say you can map it onto this scale. Let's say they have this same trifling amount difference in their DNA relative to us that our DNA is relative to chimps. That would mean our most advanced activities would be the most trivial things for that species to accomplish. And the list of things I gave you that the chimp is doing, our toddlers do that. And that's like the smartest chimps. Our toddlers do it. Well, what does this advanced species of aliens do? Well, they might roll Stephen Hawking forward and say, well, this one is slightly smarter than the rest because he can do astrophysics calculations in his head, like little Timmy over here, who just got home from preschool, and we're going to put his sonnet up on the refrigerator door, and he just derived 4 theorems of calculus. Oh, isn't that cute? And so I'm imagining that something as triflingly different from us can have such vastly greater intelligence than us that they would not view us as intelligent. And that's a little scary to me because we do not communicate in any important fundamental way with any other species on Earth, even those that are close, even those that we might rate as intelligent for themselves, right? And so we can't communicate with other animals on our own planet with whom we have DNA in common. And now we want this, this isn't addressing SETI again. Now we claim we can communicate with another species, another alien species, and our greatest of thoughts will be something that they'll even recognize as a great thought. The audacity of us. And so it leaves me awake at night wondering what of this universe will forever lay beyond our reach simply because our species is too stupid.